Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. It's Wednesday night. You get 2 fun-filled hours for the price of none, actually, because this is free. And as such, just don't have too high expectations. I hope you guys are having a good week. Welcome to Hump Day. And I'm not alone here, just so you know. I'm bringing you a full package of entertainment, and the other half of this package tonight is my good friend and co-host, Big Toe, and just all-around good guy, Mr. Don Longbeard. That's Don, you're on.
I get to be half a package.
Well, I'm the other half.
Package of what?
Of entertainment, Don.
Oh, entertainment.
Yeah, we're entertaining people. That's why people come here, is to be entertained.
I don't know. I was thinking maybe you were the left one, I was the right one. Everyone out there is in between.
You just made us sound like a scrotum.
You're the one who read it like that, not me. I didn't say anything of the such.
I'm hanging a little low. You think everything's okay, Don?
Hey, check your old man's scrotum. What is that, a nunk?
Oh, no, don't go to nunk.
Check your nunks at the door.
No, absolutely no nunks allowed, ladies and gentlemen. There's a story to that some of you newer listeners will not have any idea about, but
that means you have to go back through the archive and find out.
We're going to go into the Wayback Machine here. Long ago, ladies and gentlemen, I was thinking of a pet name for our listeners, and I was reading a story that had to do with nuns and monks.
Monks and nuns.
And so throughout the course of this story, I was reading it, and it was constantly saying nuns and monks, and then I transposed them once and just went nunks. And I thought, that's kind of cute, nunks. Maybe we're all nunks. And so that was the joke on that podcast, that we were nunks. But then come to find out, that's not a good catchphrase for us at all.
Good old Lady Death.
Lady Death pointed out to us, or was that Vamp?
No, it was Lady Death.
It was Lady Death that pointed out to us. Oh, look at that, no data on YouTube.
Ooh.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, but if she pointed out that apparently a nunk is a really saggy scrotum. So we had to can that idea really quickly. So that's the story of nunks from the Wayback Machine. Hope you enjoyed this ride. So there you go, folks. Now you know a little bit of my embarrassing history here on the show. Some of my finer moments in broadcasting, and that was one of them. But I'm okay with it. I'm happy to share it with you because I think it's good for a couple chuckles anyway.
Rachel says, I was going to say sweet and salty, but now I'm going with spicy.
Yeah, we like it spicy.
It's spicy and salty.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, 2 hours tonight of the Paranormal Portal. I'm just going to shift into an official gear before this goes all the way down the drain. We have 2 full hours, and we're going to be discussing a lot of different things. We're going to discuss some ancient civilization stuff. We're going to talk about lost civilizations, lost peoples that, kind of... And talking about finding history in the path of melting glaciers, which is kind of cool. And we're also going to do a Germer file tonight.
Germer.
The Germer files are coming up, ladies and gentlemen, and so much more. So we got a lot to go over, but I hope y'all are ready.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah?
Hold on. Lewis is here.
Lewis, happy birthday.
Yeah, it was a couple days ago, but we haven't seen you in a while, so we thought we'd say, hey, Lewis, happy birthday.
Lewis, I did put a tag on your Facebook, and, I don't see him often, but when I notice him, I'm like, oh, happy birthday. So it's not, for those of you that I've missed, please understand.
We love you all, too.
We love you all.
Happy belated birthday and happy early birthday.
Yeah, whenever your birthday is, just remember we at the Portal are wishing you a happy birthday.
Always. So you're always in our thoughts.
And a special hello to Portal Mom.
Hi,
She's at home and doing good. She had some deal going on with her eye.
Oh.
And so she got that all taken care of and is home.
I'd like to have a problem where I can't open them because I'm still asleep for an entire day.
Okay. Well.
What's wrong with your eyes, Don?
Yeah, well, that's called drinking, Don.
Maybe that's what the problem isn't.
You've got to take libations, I think, and that'll take care of your problem.
Maybe.
But so glad you're home, Mom, and hope you're all comfy and enjoying the show, and we love you. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Needle and thread, buttons on blouse.
I'm sorry?
So.
Oh, okay. All right. See, that just went right over. All right. So anyway, I hope you all are ready because it's time for a show. Boom. That's right, Lewis. You're right. Lewis says I share a birthday with MCAT, and that's
right.
true.
Yep.
I did wish MCAT a happy birthday as well. So it helps when you guys wish each other a happy birthday, and then I see it.
Yeah, we're like, oh yeah, happy birthday.
Makes me look like I'm really involved and know what the hell's going on. So anyway, we got a lot of show to do, but how about we start with Don?
The news?
The news.
The news.
All right, folks, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Mr. Brent Thomas, joined by my co-anchor, Mr. Don Longbeard.
That's me.
And we're going to dig into some news, so I hope you're ready to be informed. Because I'm going to give you a news infusion.
There you go.
And, hopefully you're more worldly and better prepared for life because of it. Here's...
right.
Well, I don't know. It's hopefully. I did say hopefully. So I have no promises or guarantees that that's the case. Because you tuned in, I don't think you'll probably be that much more.
There's a waiver at the front of this, right? They have to click on, yes, I agree to terms, and, cannot be held responsible, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's implied. I think.
It's implied, yes.
Yep. All right, folks. So the first article tonight is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And it's, could Project Blue Book be about to return?
Ooh.
Well, I don't think it ever went away. First of all, let me just say this, that I don't think the military ever stopped investigating these things, or the government or whatever. It's just they stopped officially, quote unquote, officially investigating these things. I don't think that there's been any lapse in interest. They've just decided to not be public about it. So it's just been more, clandestine? Maybe that's the right word.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So at any rate, let's see what the article says. It says the U.S. government could soon have its first dedicated UFO investigation office in more than 50 years. According to reports, the upcoming fiscal year 2022 National Defense Authorization Act contains a clause called for the establishment of a new permanent office dedicated to the investigation of unidentified aerial phenomena.
Space Force.
I thought that that's
it would make sense, though, wouldn't it?
Well, no, they were supposed to be taking the reins of this. So, but they were hesitant or reluctant to do so. But that's what I understood, is that they were going to. But maybe they've changed their mind. If this goes ahead, it will be the first time a formally acknowledged, permanently staffed UFO research effort has been established in the United States since Project Blue Book, which ran from 1952 to 1969. The exact wording in the document is as follows. Not later than 180 days from the date of the enactment of this act, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Director of National Intelligence, shall establish an office within the office of the Secretary of Defense to carry out on a department-wide basis the mission currently performed by the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force as of the date of the enactment of this act. Jeez.
That's a lot of
that's a lot of double talk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez, it went full circle. It's
it's a department within a department within a department with two department heads that are inside this other department that's in this other department that's going to become this acronym that's going to have no meaning whatsoever, like the APTF. That's in line with the TTBSA, and so we've already lost. What the hell are you talking about? Right, and then you wonder why they're $10,000 hammers. Exactly.
I'm just saying,
Wow, I remember when they were $500. Wow.
The move provides further evidence that the U.S. government is taking the UFO phenomena seriously, and that the powers that be consider it sufficient interest to warrant further investigation. It also represents something of a shift in attitude, given that until relatively recently there had been no formal acknowledgement that these objects existed or were being actively investigated. If the new office goes ahead, it will be very interesting indeed to see what it comes up with.
Right.
It will be. And there's some of the faces behind the original Project Blue Book.
But I can guarantee you, not one shred of information will come out of that department.
No, it'll be swamp gas off Uranus. Thank you.
Oh boy,
it will be. I'm just saying.
Uranus.
No, Uranus.
Whoa!
Uranus. I meant.
Uranus. You swim in that lake, don't you?
I did. I swam in all kinds of filth.
There you go.
As a child, but
that's right. Watch out for the fish sacks.
I'm better because of it. You don't know.
Grandma, is that a nunk? I certainly hope not.
I don't know if Grandma would have known what a nunk was either, but at any rate, there you go, folks. That's our first article tonight.
When I die, I want to be spread over Disneyland. I just don't want to be cremated first.
Just drop your corpse right on the main street.
Turn into Scary Wood.
Yeah. We should go to that this year.
Yeah, okay. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Wonder if we could live stream it too.
Oh, gosh, that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be
Have
cool.
Subject 7 up there. Remember Subject 7?
No.
The 7-foot guy.
Oh, yeah. They did. There's an amusement park near here called Silverwood. And during the Halloween season, they turn it into Spookywood.
Yes.
And it's like a theme Halloween park. It's really cool. They do a fantastic job.
Yeah, they've got Clown City and Porcelain Doll Alley, which I won't go near either of them.
So we'll be live streaming that, and of course we'll bring Don through Clown Alley, and you guys will be able to enjoy it with me.
No.
All right, going on to the next one. Unexplained-mysteries.com brings us man arrested after shooting at hotel aliens.
Really?
Ooh, yes.
Wow.
A man from Waco was arrested one weekend at the weekend after firing his gun at aliens he had seen outside the hotel.
Oh, my.
The bizarre incident kicked off at a hotel in Keeneland Drive, Richmond, on the morning of September 11th when bystanders called the police to report that gunshots had been heard. When police arrived, they discovered that someone was shooting a gun from one of the hotel's windows and quickly moved to evacuate civilians from the vicinity of the building. The Richmond Police Emergency Response Unit then made their way to the room which the shots were being fired from, where they found an armed male who was later identified as 55-year-old Samuel Riddell, as well as a female who was hiding in an adjoining bathroom.
Oh, boy.
No kidding, she was hiding, yeah. After Riddle was subdued and arrested, he attempted to explain his actions to detectives by claiming that he had observed aliens in the parking lot and was shooting at them. It turned out that he was, in fact, a convicted felon that was in possession of several guns. He was charged with multiple offenses, including wanton endangerment and criminal mischief.
Yeah. Fortunately,
nobody was injured during the incident. Wow. So I'm sure he was probably under some kind of influence, right? They just kind of glided over that part, though, right? Right? I mean, that guy was on something. There's no doubt. He was seeing something. Yeesh. All right. Well, there you have it. That's the next piece of news from our broadcast. Good God. They didn't even mention that he was probably on chemicals or something. Take cover in the bathroom. I'll hold him off.
It's like that one lady that called work one time when I was working at this call center.
Uh-huh.
The 3-headed cockroach aliens won't let anything come in. You've got to beam my product into the house. I'm like, what? Huh?
Ooh, I don't think we have that technology, ma'am.
She said, those cockroaches, they're shaped like crucifixes. I'm like, crosses, you mean? No, crucifixes. So they have like Jesuses hanging from them?
Jeez.
I'm like, ma'am, I'm sorry. We don't have that, what is it called? The
delivery option?
Scotty's thing. The transporter. We don't have the transporter technology yet.
Yeah, we don't currently have that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
So anyhow,
that's scary.
Aliens and.
Well, aliens are weird enough, but sometimes our own celebrity figures in the world are plenty weird enough. And that brings us to our next article, ladies and gentlemen, which comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one's definitely in the unexplained category.
It's like, wow.
This is rapper gets gold chains implanted into his head. What the hell?
Did you switch the screen?
Did I? Yeah, I switched the screen. Yeah. I was staring at the camera, though, just like a Mexican rapper by the name of Dancer claims to be the first
dancer. Not with those chains on your head.
Wow. This guy is a brick. Rapper by the name of Dancer, Dansur, claims to be the first person to have chains implanted into his skull. Wow. When it comes to accessories, I've accessorized. Most people are content with getting their ears pierced, but for others, there's practically no limit to what they will pierce or implant into their own bodies. 23-year-old Mexican rapper Dancer, for instance, has taken things to an extreme by replacing his natural hair with a set of gold chains that he has allegedly had surgically implanted into his head. This is my hair, he says. Golden hair, the first rapper to have gold hair implanted in human history. The truth is that I wanted to do something different because I see that everyone dyes their hair.
It would have been a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
A lot less intrusive.
I hope not everyone copies me now. Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to be okay with that. You're probably going to be the only one to do this one. Oh my God, what a knucklehead.
I wonder if they had to remove the vacancy signs from between the ears before they could put them in there.
They probably had to pressurize the vacuum first before they made holes. Sir has since appeared in a number of videos on TikTok and YouTube showcasing his new metallic locks. It's not clear if the chains really are implanted, nor is it clear what type of metal they are made from, but it's unlikely to be actually solid gold given how heavy and expensive that would be. I have it as a hook that is implanted in my head, and that hook has hooks, and they're all hooked in my skull under my skin, he explained in one of his videos.
Oh my God.
The result is certainly striking, albeit a bit impractical given that he can hardly see where he's going. According to doctors, such implants are also potentially dangerous and can lead to infections and long-term health issues, especially if the metal chains themselves are heavy. Whether or not Sir will decide to keep his new looks, however, remains to be seen.
The only way that you could get those implanted in your skull is to drill holes in your skull.
Yeah, well, you could use wall hangers. just those screw-in hooks, Just tap them closed after you get the chain on there.
Oh, no.
Could you imagine this guy in a thunderstorm? This guy would be a running target. What an idiot. Oh, my God. There you go, folks. This goes into the you thought you heard it all category. And, nope, we hadn't. We're a little closer now, though, because there can't be that much stupid around, can there? Never mind. I strike my statement from the record.
So, okay, there's this other YouTube rapper like this guy. He had a gem implanted into his forehead.
Yeah. And
he went stage diving and they ripped it out of his forehead. I mean, how dumb can you be, Yeah,
it's a $3 million diamond. Car wreck. Yeah, that's going to be oh my God. They would have to just implant, I suppose, some kind of faceted, thing where they would have to be a bracket with the claws to hook onto the jewel.
Well, not necessarily, because you remember that people have implanted like spikes on their heads, right?
Yeah, but they do them subdermally, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, so
put them up underneath the skin.
So it raises the skin. But
right.
Wow, he got his jewel took. Gee, didn't see that coming.
Gosh, there's my third eye.
Yeah. Currently blind. All right, here's the next one from unexplained-mysteries.com, folks. This is a new $15 million firm aims to de-extinct the mammoth. They're going to de-extinct it, folks. UFO hunter has teamed up with a Harvard geneticist in a renewed effort to bring mammoths back to life. The new firm, which has been named Colossal, I guess that's it, describes itself as a breakthrough bioscience and genetic engineering company which aims to restore Earth to a healthier state.
Oh, okay.
And somehow mammoths are key to that, I guess. While also solving for the future economies and biological necessities of the human condition through cutting-edge science and technologies.
Sure, now I can just barbecue a woolly mammoth.
You're going to need a bigger grill.
You're going to need a bigger grill, boys.
Yep. Founded by entrepreneur and UFO hunter Ben Lamb, alongside de-extinction expert and geneticist George Church, the company will sponsor research at Church's Harvard Medical School lab with the goal of effectively bringing the extinct woolly mammoth back to life. According to Lamb, the project will continue efforts made by other researchers such as David Rice, who previously sequenced the genomes of 23 Asian elephants, and Colossal's own lead biological scientist, Ariona Haisoli, who extracted and analyzed the DNA of a mammoth found in Siberia. We've pretty much managed to complete the assembly of the 60-plus genes that would essentially make an elephant genome functionally that of a woolly mammoth, he said. Lamb expects the company to produce its first elephant-mammoth hybrid calves within 6 years.
Wow.
The end goal will be to reintroduce entire herds of the animals into the wild. Given that nobody has ever managed to achieve anything remotely like this before, however, the scientists behind this endeavor will likely be in for a challenging time. I gotta admit, I would be fascinated to see mammoths wandering around and how big that is. And I mean, they're just a colossal animal compared to today's elephants. Mm-hmm. They are so much bigger. Mm-hmm. But I just kind of imagine, you're releasing them back into the wild. Well, they're going to go where they want to go, and that includes,
anywhere they want
to go at any time.
It's mammoth season.
Yeah, and I mean, this might be the one animal that could decimate a semi-truck or something, It's like, and it's something as big as it just going, nope. Yeah, I mean, those are huge creatures.
I wonder how much their tusks would be worth. I mean,
Well,
because the ivory trade, and
which is absolutely illegal.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, you're absolutely right.
So it'd be black market.
But see, if we could grow it in a vat, it's not illegal, right? Right?
I don't think it works that way.
That's a big friggin' vat, but still.
Well, anyway, but yeah, I mean, I would be fascinated to see them reintroduced, at least in a small setting, just to see how they would handle living in our current world, and what are the differences in our environment today versus then. And
right.
I don't know. I'm not pretending to know how the world is, any different from when they were roaming the wilds.
Well,
but
I think we're minus a lot of vegetation.
Well, but weren't they in the Arctic areas? I mean, much like where they've
got mammoth bones in Montana.
Well, sure, but wasn't that during the glacial period?
Well,
I mean, wasn't it?
Well, let's get to which glacial period. But
well,
yes.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, it was 150,000 years ago, something like that, when they were last here. So, or up to 15,000 maybe. But I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd be cool if they did the whole Jurassic Park thing, even though it's probably a colossally stupid idea. I saw the movie. No. It doesn't work out well, but it'd still be kind of neat to see.
Kind of ends the same way as Titanic, It goes down in flames.
Probably. But it'd be kind of neat to see how these animals really did behave versus what we think they behaved as, And I'm sure between mammoths and elephants, there probably isn't a huge ballpark of difference, but I'm sure there's significant differences. I mean, it's a huge hairy elephant, I guess.
Right.
But at any rate, very interesting stuff, and I'm not opposed to it, oddly enough, and maybe I should be, because it's tampering with the natural order of things, and I think that's always a recipe for a mess. But I'm still, I got to admit, I'm kind of excited by that prospect. But anyway, that's just me. I'm not in charge of it anyway, so nobody really cares what I think. But since I got a microphone, you guys get to hear it.
4 and 3 and 2 and 1.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the next one that we're going to cover here on the show is another ice age kind of thing. Ice baby. And this one is apparently kind of helping you understand what it was like to see these glaciers of ages gone past. And unexplained-mysteries.com, let me look at this, make sure it's not a huge one. No, it's not. It says Ice Age Glacier was like Game of Thrones wall.
Wow.
So apparently that's what it would look like, is just a huge wall of ice coming. New video shows just what a 1 kilometer ice sheet would actually look like next to the Scottish city of Dundee. One of the most impressive spectacles in the hit TV adaptation of George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones is the enormous ice wall that borders the northern edge of the Kingdom of the North. While such a structure might seem impossible in the real world, there was a time when a wall of ice that was much taller and a lot more extensive than the one in Game of Thrones actually existed. Back during the Ice Age, a large portion of the Northern Hemisphere, and in particular Scotland and the majority of the British Isles, was covered in a huge ice sheet over 1 kilometer thick. Wow. Now a new video created by lecturer Kieran Duncan and glaciologist Max Van Wyck de Vries shows exactly what this huge glacier would look like if it happened to be placed next to a modern city. The sheer scale of the ice wall is breathtaking and totally dwarfs Dundee's 571-foot Law Hill. Part of the film shows what a 1 kilometer ice sheet would have looked like on top of Dundee, on top of the Dundee Law, and I remember my mind being blown when Max first told me about that, said Duncan. You hear numbers like that, but it's only when you see what that would have looked like in relation to something like the Law, which towers above the city, that you really start to conceive of just how massive a glacier was. I don't know if we can watch this or not. What do you think, Don?
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Dundee.
Okay, let's just get through the fluff.
That sounded like Cade.
Did it?
Are a far cry from the South Pole.
Not bad. Yeah, it's kind of a moya. He's got that moya. Let's see. Where's the beef of this? I just want to get to the ice wall. Was that it? No? Okay. That's a lot of setup for this. I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
Huh.
I'm looking for this image of what it's like to see I got to keep this on a plane here. Maybe this?
Whoa.
The Tay Estuary.
Okay, well, that's the video. If any of you want to look at it, I'll put a link in the description or in the chat, and you guys can certainly have a peek at it. And perhaps you'll like to watch what a big glacier would look like. I mean, it's got to be kind of scary, right?
I don't even know if that would technically be a glacier. It'd just be like, surface. I mean,
that's
a kilometer thick. I mean, imagine how wide that has to be to just stand up.
Sure.
A kilometer thick. Oh my goodness.
Right. Okay. Here's a claim coming out of Australia, from unexplainedmysteries.com. Sorry. And
don't we know all the Yowie researchers in Australia by now?
No, I think we know some key ones though. That's for sure. Let's see. And this is unexplained-mysteries.com brings us missing persons eaten by Yowie, Hunter explains or claims. One Australian man is absolutely convinced that a Yowie, Australia's answer to Bigfoot, is the real deal. Although encounters with large bipedal hominids are mostly associated with North America and the Himalayas, stories of such creatures have been recorded for hundreds of years in countries all over the world, including Russia, China, and even Australia, where it's known locally as the Yowie. For years, Yowie hunter Jason Heel has been scouring the wilderness around Perth in search of evidence that could prove once and for all that this elusive hominid actually exists. Co-founder of the Yowie Research Group, he and his colleagues have amassed a large collection of sighting reports, photographs, and audio recordings captured in the country's huge national parks. He also claims to have witnessed Yowies with his own eyes. I recently saw Yowies running at superhuman speeds north of Bullsbrook, he said. I believe there is a population of Yowies all around the outer suburbs, including Mundaring, Serpentine Dam, and Lake Nungara. Okay. And I think they go to pockets of bush near people and use bush corridors, but because they are moving in early hours of the morning and are incredibly quick, people never see them. When it comes to concrete physical evidence, however, Heel maintains that these elusive hominids are intelligent enough to conceal anything that might give away their existence. He believes that some of those who encounter them end up becoming their lunch. There are a lot of people who go missing in the bush, and the cases remain unsolved, and it usually put down to a homicide, he said, but I think some of these are the work of Yowies.
I think it's time to get on our friends over in Australia and find out what they're talking about.
Right.
Maybe
Australia.
We need to talk to, what's that guy's name again? Jason Seal? Jason.
What was his name? Jason Heel.
Heel.
Heal.
Heel as in get better.
As in get better.
Yeah. Not heal as in like,
He might be pretty good. I don't know. No, I don't know anything about Jason Heel, and maybe he is a profound researcher. I really don't know. But, of course, we have had many conversations with Dean Harrison and Gary Lynn and Sarah and Buck as well, from Australia Yowie Research, and great people. And they've caught some amazing FLIR images and such of Yowies in their research and are continuing to go out. So, I've never heard. I mean, I don't think it's far from anyone's mind, including Native American histories and legends that state that they used to. There's apparently accounts in those histories of Bigfoot / Yowies, whatever, abducting and possibly eating people. And so I don't think it's far from anybody's mind that there's a possibility for that. But I wouldn't think that we're a core diet,
Yeah, no.
I mean, like, they've got to be coming from a pretty...
here he is.
Who?
Jason Heel.
Oh, did you find him? Okay.
Yeah, found him on Facebook.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's possible that they do eat people. I don't know. There's a lot we don't know.
He's friends with Germer.
Oh, everybody's friends with Wes. Everybody is friends with Wes.
Yeah.
Wes is like that cornerstone of the community.
Yeah, you got a point there, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know about this guy, but I don't think his claim is void of merit. I just think it's completely
ambitious.
speculative.
Yeah.
It's there's nothing to substantiate that, but there's nothing to disprove it either. So it's one of those claims that it's could be true or it could be absolute fabrication. Who knows? But anyway, there's the question here in the States with the missing 411. It's like, well, people are going missing in national parks. David Paulides has made a career out of it, and there's a lot of questions. And it is possible that certainly some of these cryptids in the wilds could be a suspect in explaining some of that away, But at any rate, we just don't know. So I think that's a bold claim to make. It's certainly possible, but there's no way to substantiate it. So it's just sensational enough to get clicks, I guess, which is good enough for me. And we got one more here on the news, and then we'll continue with the rest of the show.
Oh, we got a thumbs down.
We got a thumbs down?
We got a thumbs down.
Wow. What did we do wrong, Don? Damn it.
We showed up.
Yeah, we actually started the show. Damn it. We'll do it tomorrow, and we won't even start the show.
There you go.
I'll just sit here and talk to my computer. That'll help.
That's very entertaining, actually.
Next article, ladies and gentlemen, from the news, and the last one tonight on our newscast for the Paranormal Portal News Network is unexplained-mysteries.com tells us a Bigfoot photographed in Bernard, Iowa, as of the 30th of July.
Wow.
So, I don't know. That does look pretty beefy back there. I imagined this is the apparent alleged Bigfoot.
It looks like a crow, a raven.
Yeah. I mean, it does, but it's clearly back in the background there.
That would have to be huge.
That would have to be an enormous raven. A man who has been out walking captured a photograph of what he believes to be a large bipedal ape-like creature.
Commas become familiar.
I know. Yeah. According to reports, the man, who has been identified as Jeremy, has been walking at Whitewater Canyon, where he caught sight of an anomalous figure nearby and managed to snap a picture of it. I was doing a morning walk at Whitewater Canyon with my sister, who lives up in Dubuque. Oh, this is in Iowa, yeah. And he was quoted as saying, I pointed out the figure, and my sister laughed, saying it was a person. We called out to it, but got no response. You don't have to believe me. I wouldn't believe me, but now that I've seen whatever this was firsthand, I think I may be a Bigfoot believer now.
Wow.
The most obvious reaction to the image is that his sister was probably right, in that the Bigfoot was likely little more than a person who happened to be out walking in that area at the time. Jeremy, however, remains adamant what he saw was something more. I gotta admit that is pretty thick. And it's not like it's cold weather. This is the end of July. This is certainly a warm time of year. So
Right.
I don't know. It could be. I mean, look at the shoulders. There isn't an observable neck.
Right.
So this could be true.
Huh.
It says these Bigfoot sightings photos were reported on just recently this month by Jake Trumper. They give his last name here. Okay. Radio host. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
The sighting location was Whitewater Canyon in Bernard, Iowa. Sound off in the comments. Huh. It could be. Again, it's anybody's guess, but it is curious. It does look like a beefy man if that's the case. Huh. But it is really, you can see that it's one tone, although there's grays and darks, but that's, from the light.
Right.
I imagine. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. Might have just captured a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Might have just captured some people's attention. That works too. You okay?
Ouch, no.
Oh, what'd you do? Knock your
I knocked
toe
my
again?
toe.
Oh, yeah, don't do that, please.
I'm amazed I didn't start screaming.
Or crying. Good.
Well,
Yeah.
crying. No, screaming is my crying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Screaming curse words.
Sit still over there, young man. All right, so I guess that's going to be our newscast for the night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in.
Brilliant.
Back to the regularly scheduled program.
Here we go. Beefy.
Just like me, Don.
Okay.
Just like me. All right, folks. That was the news. Hope you guys enjoyed the news. Some good stories tonight, I think, yeah?
Yeah, they were good stories. Yeah, absolutely.
The lines are open. Thank you, Julia. That's true. The lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. If anyone wants to call in and share their own paranormal fun or experience, by all means, please do. The number is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Those are the numbers for fun right here on the portal. So if you call them, we will do our best to answer as
0500.
quickly as we can. Yeah. So there you go. Let's see what else is on the menu tonight. We've got a few good articles to get through.
Apparently, Aussies. Aussies are on the menu tonight.
Aussies are?
Well, yeah, you said Bigfoot's eating Aussies. Or Yowies are eating Aussies. I don't know. Not my fault.
Something's eating Aussies. Something's eating them. Let's continue here. I want to go to one article here first. This is an article from justforspooks.com. And it's Coincidences Defy Everything. And it says 20 coincidences that will defy everything you know. Everything you know, Don.
All coincidences?
Apparently.
Or are they serendipity?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. I didn't write this. Well, let's see what it's got to say. All right. 20 coincidences that will defy everything you know. Number 1. 6 years ago, because of my drinking, I'd been homeless for about 8 months. I'd been at a shelter for a few weeks, and one day, as I walked from the library back to the shelter for dinner, I decided I just couldn't take it anymore. I was ready to end myself. That prior August, my mother had passed away, so on the street that evening, I said to her, I can't take it anymore, Mom. Help me. But at the shelter after dinner, us bums, waited for showers and bedtime, and that evening the shelter had more residents than usual, and many of them needed clean socks or underwear, etc. Well, on this night, it wasn't scheduled, but the shelter opened the basement where they kept donated clothes, and I didn't need anything, but I was bored, so I went downstairs. I browsed the racks and didn't find anything to my liking, so I headed for the stairs, and that's where I found Le Mutt. Le Mutt is a toy, a little stuffed dog, and I'd had one when I was a kid. In fact, I clearly remembered my mother and I in the store 20 plus years ago buying him.
Wow.
I was in 3rd grade then. Well, I asked a volunteer if he knew where the dog had come from, and he shook his head. This was and still is a men's homeless shelter, People were not dropping off stuffed animals or for the junkies or drunks. So I don't know where the dog came from, but I kept him. Still got him. Anyway, my life is much better and different today, and I'm set to graduate with a BFA next month.
Wow.
Life is really, really good. Thanks, Mom. I love you.
Wow.
That's a cool story. So it just took him to have something of an anchor to a happier time. And that's cool. I mean, that could have been an ugly situation, but that was by Euphonious Monk. Euphonious Monk.
Monk.
I said monk.
Yeah, I was just making sure you didn't say nunk.
Nope, I didn't. I didn't. Number 2 on this list. Around 6 or 7 years ago, a large portion of my neighborhood burned down in the fires that swept through Southern California while helping my friend's family pick through the rubble of their home for anything that could be salvaged. I saw a speck of white paper in the midst of one of the more blackened areas. I picked it up and read it. The only text on this bit of paper left over after the rest of the page had burned away was, "From the ashes, new life is born."
Now, that is a coincidence.
Ooh, that's a good one. That gives you chills, doesn't it?
One, yeah.
Oof. Mm-hmm. That was by Sawiraya. That's a really cool situation. Number 3 out of this list, I worked at a library for a very long time, and in an effort to not lose my soul, I collected stuff I found in books. My favorite discovery was a hilarious postcard between 2 friends, and I immediately thought, I'd like to meet these people. I kept it next to my computer for a few years. After a few years passes, I'm going through my papers, and I find the postcard from my girlfriend that I don't recognize, and it takes me a few minutes to understand that I'm reading the postcard I'd put aside years earlier between someone who is now my girlfriend and another person I'd come to know as a friend. It was probably the weirdest event in a series of events that defied probability regarding a ton of surreal linking events in our lives. So he held on to this random postcard, ends up becoming romantically involved with the girl who wrote the postcard without knowing that he had the postcard from her until he revisited it on his desk and went, "Oh my God, I know both of them now."
That's an interesting hobby, though.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, go to the library and leaf through the books, and you know, people use the weirdest things for
bookmarks. Yeah. Yep.
You know, I wonder if they shake those out. I don't know.
I'm sure they'd probably do. Yeah. Yeah. But whoever wrote it, we don't know. It was deleted. So, number 4 on this list, similar story. In high school in Los Angeles, I drove a friend down to Dana Point, California to look at a car on sale on Craigslist. At the house of the car owner, I shared a moment with the cute girl living next door via prolonged eye contact as she left her house. Friend bought the car, we left. 5 years later, I moved to South Orange County and take a job near Dana Point and start dating a girl I sort of worked with. When I went to her house for the first time, I stopped cold while walking up her driveway as I realized where I was. It was the house. She was the girl. She asked me what was wrong because she could almost literally see my mind exploding. I told her the story, and we shared another moment on that same lawn from 5 years before. We're getting married next July.
Wow.
How is that for synchronicity?
Serendipity, yeah.
Serendipity, synchronicity, yeah. The things in the bass amp. No, that's a cool story. Wow. You know, I do have a family friend. It was more my mom's friend, but she said that as a little girl, she was sitting up in her bedroom window, which was on the second floor of her house, looking outside, and she saw a boy walk by. She was maybe 8, and she saw a boy of similar age walk by, and she looked at him and knew that was the man she was going to marry.
Wow.
It turned out to be the man that she eventually married. And that life just brought them together, and she knew from a very early age that was the guy. Huh. That's just amazing.
Nice.
Aussie says, "Do you have any tunes playing? Because I can hear it." It's my Alexa in the other room playing Native American flutes, so it's probably a little loud. We'll get that turned down. But yeah, cool story. That's what you're hearing, though.
And just in time, Gigi just popped in.
Oh,
the original OCG.
The original. Yep. Okay. The thing in the bass amp. So number 5 on this list. When I was about 12, I had a terrible nightmare in which 2 planes collided in midair.
That's not good.
It was extremely vivid, and I woke up in a panic. My bedroom was right next to the family bathroom. And after about 30 minutes of lying in bed freaking out, I noticed the landing light come on and knew that a parent was heading to the bathroom. Now, by 12, I wasn't the sort to bother my parents about nightmares anymore, but I was convinced there was going to be a plane crash, so I rushed out to my mom and told her everything. She said I was being stupid and that I should just read and try to get back to sleep. The next morning, my mom comes rushing into my room, pulls me out of bed, and has my dad with her. And she asks me to tell him about my nightmare. And then they both looked freaked out. They insisted that I went downstairs with them to watch the news. I thought they were pranking me or something, but when I got down, breakfast news was running a story about this. And there's a link there. We later worked out that I'd woken up around about the time the crash itself took place. Nothing like this has happened since. So she actually, I don't know.
Linked the story, huh?
Yeah, linked the actual, well, it's a web archive, but I don't know if it's going to work. Looks like it's Uberlingen midair collision, but it's not actually coming up, so, all right. But anyway, it did at it's Tom D. Williams, so it was a he. Okay. All right, number 6 on this list. A couple of years back, I had a dream of my grandfather, who I was not particularly close to by any means. In my dream, I saw his casket formally covered by an American flag. He served in the military, and he stood next to me in a room full of mourners and held my hand, and he told me not to follow him out of the doors when he left. I watched him leave, and when I woke up and went downstairs to get breakfast and call my father to tell him happy birthday, my older brother informed me that my grandfather had just passed away in his sleep, while I also slept. Multiple colored Chloe. Now you got to wonder, what if she would have followed him?
Yeah.
Would she have also passed? Was that the gateway? Was that the light of eternity that he was walking to? Huh. That's wild.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, right? All right, number 7 on this list of fun. When I was in 7th grade, I had a serious crush on a girl.
Nice.
It's nice. One day, her mom was driving a bunch of us somewhere, and everyone was talking and making jokes. I can't remember the exact conversation, but I had a moment of silence where it was my chance to make everyone laugh. I made a super lame joke that brought silence. My moment to impress was ruined. Come 10 years later, I'm driving a car with the kids of family friends. In the same seat in the back sits a kid that reminds me of me, and there's a girl in the front seat he likes.
Uh-oh.
The exact conversation, something about not enough of us to do something, starts progressing. I look into the rearview mirror at the kid and was thinking, don't say we will multiply. Don't say we will multiply. Seriously, I wish I remember the exact conversation was. I was going to intervene before he said it, but bam, he drops the same lame joke I did 10 years before, and it seriously had no comment or comical value at all. I was in awe, I was a psychic, as useless at one apparently. And I'm assuming he did not get the girl either.
Sometimes it's best just to keep your mouth shut.
Yep, sometimes quiet is good.
Yep.
Dogs, blimps, shoot cloth. Okay. That's the username that wrote that one. Number 8 on this list. 3 years ago, I was interning at a company that specialized in green energy, and their mission was to provide electricity to remote villages in Africa. I get assigned to work with a team of engineers, and on my way to meet up with them, after arriving in Africa, I'm asked to stop at said address and pick up a utility trailer that is waiting at a local store. I cannot reveal the name or location, but it's an old store, fairly large, with a second floor that was residential where a man and his family lived. The shop had everything from product, food, and medical supplies to a massive junkyard in the back full of automobiles and planes.
Wow.
When I arrive at the store, he's working on an outboard motor for a customer. He was very friendly, shook my hand, and asked me how he could help me. I said I'm with X company and we have a utility trailer that I'm supposed to pick up and take with me to X village. And he asked for identification, and I hand him my company ID and Tennessee driver's license, which in the little holder below the company ID. Okay. When he looks at my name, his face went from happy to confused, and he said, I have a question. Do you have a father or sibling that you are named after that also lives or did live in Tennessee? Okay, at this point, every thought I had came back to a halt, and I was dumbfounded. I'm named after my dad, and he lived in Tennessee all his life, and there aren't too many people with our name either. After a long pause, I said, yes, I am named after my dad. How in the hell do you know that? And he said, he met a man in the late 70s that stopped at his store. His name was Jeffrey X, and that I resembled him. And I said, well, it couldn't be the same person. As far as I know, my father had never been to Africa. And he said, no, it was. It was your father. He was in the military and came here to get something from his store. He then goes on to tell me that my dad offered to help the man work on his car, and after they fixed it up, the man tried to give my dad some money, but he insisted that the man keep it. The man then asked my dad to join him and his family for dinner. It was the least he could do, and they eat, and during the conversation, the man's son overheard my dad talking about a guitar that he had with him. The little boy wanted to see the guitar and for my dad to play it, so my dad brings it inside and starts to play, and the boy was very fascinated with it and told his father he wanted to learn to play someday. Well, after dinner, my dad has to leave, and he is about to walk out. He handed the boy the guitar and told him that he could have it if he promised to practice every day, and one day he would return to hear him play it. I'm overwhelmed at the emotions I'm feeling is insane. The man invites me to dinner as he did my father. I accept, go upstairs where the man hands me a guitar case and said, this is the guitar. He said the guitar changed the course of his son's life. And I said, where's your son now? And he said he moved out, went to college for music, and now lives in another town and teaches guitar for a living, along with some other instruments. And we start to eat. And he asked about my father and how he was these days. And I had to tell him that he passed away when I was still a child. We both started crying, and he picked up the guitar and said, this is why you came here today. Nothing else explains such a phenomena. Your father's spirit still lives within this guitar. It was meant for you to show up here. And we ate, and I finished. The man asked if I knew how to play. I said, I know only one song in its entirety, and he requested I play it before I leave. I start to play, and his wife and him start crying. They said it was the last song my dad played before giving the guitar to the man's son and leaving. Dedicated to my father, I only knew you for a short time, but to this day, it amazes me how many hearts you've touched, even long after you're gone. I love you and hope to see you someday. That's very cool. What are the odds?
Yeah.
I mean,
craziness, isn't it?
Yeah, those are the kind of things that make you go, wow. It's just the incredible way that things come full circle.
Right.
Number 9 on the list, my friend had told me that I would find out within 3 weeks that I was pregnant, and it would be a boy. 3 weeks later, to the day I found out I was pregnant, I didn't find out that I was having a boy until 3 days before I had him. And my friend called me a month and a half before I had my son to tell me that I would have him on the 20th, and sure enough, 36 hours of labor, I had my son on November 20th. I always thought it was kind of creepy that she got it right.
Yeah, well.
Smoking Buzzard 79.
Smoking what?
I don't know. It didn't say. Number 10. Last December, I had a bad dream, early-ish in the morning, that my dad had stopped taking his liver medication and that he was going to die. In the dream, I asked him why he had been so careless, but he said that it was just his time. When I woke up, my sister texted me that Dad was in the hospital. He passed away 3 weeks later due to, of course, liver complications from not taking his medication. That was by Bizoid. Wow. That is crazy, huh? Crazy stuff, Don. I think we'll leave that one there, right? And move on to some other stuff. Those are some great stories, though. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, they were great, yeah.
And there's another 10 of them to go because we're on number 11 now.
Synchronicities.
Synchronicity.
And serendipity, coincidence, quinky dinks.
Quinky dinks. We've got... this one's pretty quick, I think. Yeah, this is a pretty brief little article. I'm going to blow it up a little bit, though, because it's, again, small. There we go.
There you go.
This is from space.com, folks, and this is an article, let's see, it's 30 days ago. It was written by Brandon Spector, Speck, TOR from space.com, 2 planes report bright green UFO swooping through the clouds over Canada. I mean, it's funny that they say Canada is such a, it's such a big place. It's
Right.
not like, you're saying Seattle. You're talking about a huge country, and, it's not very definitive. Why don't they say like Ottawa or over Quebec or whatever, But they don't. They say Canada. Okay. A military plane may have had to swerve to avoid the mysterious object, surveillance data shows. Late on July 30th, pilots of 2 separate aircraft, one military and one commercial, reported seeing a mysterious green UFO vanish into the clouds over the Gulf of St. Lawrence on the Atlantic coast of Canada. That's from Vice News that reported that. According to a report posted August 11th to the Canadian government's Aviation Incident Database, both flights witnessed a bright green flying object that flew into a cloud and then disappeared. The object did not impact the operations of either flight, the report noted. One of the aircraft that reported the sightings was a Canadian military plane flying from a base in Ontario to Cologne, Germany. The passenger flight was a KLM Royal Dutch Airlines plane flying from Boston to Amsterdam. Stefan Watkins, an aviation and shipping researcher, looked at a transponder data from the 2 flights and saw that the military plane climbed 1,000 feet, 300 meters, in altitude at the time of the sighting, possibly to avoid the object or to get a closer look at it. There's a chance the UFO could have been a meteor streaking through the sky. Really? Could have been a meteor, Don. Did you know that?
It could have been a meteor?
That's what they're saying.
I doubt it.
It says, yes, I know the UFO sighting would have been at the early stage of the Perseid meteor shower, Watkins added, but don't be a buzzkill. The Canadian aviator reported, tagged the incident with a catch-all label, weather balloon, meteor, rocket, UFO, not ruling out a space rock as the possible culprit. Unlike the U.S. Defense Department, Canada's Department of National Defense does not track UFO sightings. The department spokesman told Vice, still there is no shortage of civilian enthusiasts north of the border. In December 2019, a private collector donated more than 30,000 UFO-related documents to the University of Manitoba in Winnipeg, including scores of documents on the Falcon Lake incident, Canada's most infamous UFO case. Live Science previously reported. I don't think I'm familiar with that one, are you?
No.
Me either. Okay. Meanwhile, in June 2021, the Pentagon publicly released a long-awaited report on more than 140 documented UFO sightings by U.S. Navy pilots. The report concluded that most of the UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena reported, probably do represent physical objects, though there is no evidence that alien visitors are behind any of the incidents. Of course, that's just the unclassified 9-page version of the report. Some of the report's juiciest details hide in the classified annex, which the public will never see, The Guardian reported.
Yep.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just all, look at that.
Yeah.
There's some early attempts at UFOs, huh?
Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy. That's a space.com video there. Some of those are really funny, though. People really wanted to make flying saucers.
Good.
Yep. I guess that would have been a great thing to be able to explain away all this stuff, but it didn't work. Didn't work, Don. All right. Now, here's an interesting one from Curiosmos.com. We've got a few articles from them. I don't know. We'll get to a couple of them tonight. I don't know how many, but at any rate, let me just blow it up just a little bit. It's already at 150. I guess that's good enough. Study reveals alien civilizations may have colonized the galaxy and visited Earth. By Ivan Petricevic. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. Posted September 20th, 2019. This is an old one, but it's a 4-minute read. So let's get to that 4 minutes of reading. A study suggests that aliens may have colonized the Milky Way galaxy and probably visited Earth by now. According to a scientific study, the Milky Way may be full of alien civilizations and have already visited Earth. Although there's a massive debate on UFOs right now, the truth is, officially speaking, aliens are not real. Officially speaking, he did say.
Right.
In 2018, scientists from Oxford University conducted a study suggesting a 2 in 5 chance that we're alone in the galaxy, and 1 in 3 chance that we're alone in the entire universe. So far, numerous researchers have tried answering Fermi's paradox, and they've done it in the most varied ways, assuming that all intelligent life forms outside of the Earth are aquatic and live in ocean depths, and therefore do not know space flight. Scientists have also come up with a so-called zoo hypothesis, according to which the Milky Way's advanced societies have decided not to contact us for the same reason that we try not to contact some of the most isolated indigenous populations on Earth to protect them. But they're still coronanuses of cows. So, riddle me that. However, none of these solutions had taken into account so far that everything in the galaxy is in continuous motion. Similarly, the planets orbit around the stars, also the stars with their planets in tow, orbit around the galactic center. Our solar system, for example, completes an orbit every 230 million years. Wow. 230 million years. That's a long time. Where was I? There we go. It says, therefore, a study published recently in the Astronomical Journal reveals that if civilizations arose in very remote star systems, as is with ours, which is located in a sparsely populated area of the stars, near the edge of the Milky Way, it would not be a bad idea to shorten the trip and wait until their orbital trajectories get close enough to the new habitable worlds to allow ships and settlers to be sent there. Once established in the new system, the aliens could repeat the play and wait again to be at an optimal travel distance to take a new leap, and so on.
Wow.
That's kind of a cool theory.
That's called the long game.
Yeah, it sure is. You got to be really dedicated to do it in 230 million year cycles. In such a scenario, alien civilizations would not simply launch across the galaxy. Still, they would wait long enough for their star to approach another star system with a habitable planet orbiting its star. If that long enough translates to 1 billion years, we have a potential solution to the Fermi Paradox. In other words, this would mean that habitable worlds are so scarce that it would be necessary to wait, in fact, longer than a civilization endures before one of them gets within reach. To get to the bottom of the understanding under which these circumstances aliens exist in the galaxy, the scientists used mathematical models to simulate how an advanced civilization could spread across the confines of our galaxy. To do that, they factored in several possibilities for the hypothetical alien civilizations: proximity to new solar systems, the range and speed of the interstellar forces, as well as the launch rate of the probes themselves. We tried to come up with a model that would involve the fewest assumptions about sociology that we could. Jonathan Carroll Nellenbeck, a computational scientist and the study's lead author, said to Business Insider. But part of the difficulty with modeling the galactic expanse of alien civilizations is that we're dealing with only one data point, us. So all our forecasts are based on our own behavior, but despite having this limitation, the scientists discovered that our galaxy, the Milky Way, is most likely filled with settled star systems, and we haven't even discovered yet. Yep. Every system could be habitable and could be settled, but they wouldn't visit us because they're not close enough, Carol Nullenbeck said, though he added that just because that's possible doesn't make it likely. We've got a long way to go to explore the universe.
You think so?
So far, we've discovered a little bit over 4,000 exoplanets, and we've not been able to tell whether any of them is home to any alien life. Then again, we haven't looked everywhere. For example, astronomers have estimated that there are more than 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy alone, and there could be 5 to 10 times the number of planets. In fact, one recent study has proposed that there could be as many as 10 billion Earth-like planets out there. The research explained, suggesting that none of those solar systems and therefore exoplanets are inhospitable is like looking at a pool of ocean water and saying that there are no dolphins and then concluding that the entire ocean has no dolphins. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You know what's interesting, though? Think about this. What if we are what was left behind while they were waiting for one of the arms to come close enough to a...
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're one of those spots they waited, and we've just forgotten.
We're the local Lego set They're just sitting here. I got some time to waste. What about we make those monkeys?
Well, no, I meant us being space travelers. They came here and waited for the alignment.
Sure.
And then they jumped, and we, through our ages, forgot that we are space travelers.
Sure, that could explain a lot. Yeah. Especially some of that weird artifacts out of time stuff.
Yeah, true.
There's some kind of origin to all that. So, this is a small portion of the gigapixel color mosaic of the Milky Way heart. Look at all that. Look at all those lights. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And we're the only ones, really. Every one of these dots is a star.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're the only ones? Come on. That's just...
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's ego.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Another fundamental argument to consider is what astrophysicist Michael Hart called the A fact, when in a 1975 paper he argued that there have been plenty of time for aliens to colonize the Milky Way. Fact A tells us that there are no interstellar visitors on Earth now, and there is no evidence of past visits. But just because there aren't any aliens on Earth right now, and we've not encountered conclusive evidence of them ever being on Earth, doesn't mean they never were here. The researchers of the new study argue that if an extraterrestrial civilization visited our planet millions of years ago, there could be no remaining signs of their visit. Our planet is 4.5 billion years old, so you can imagine that in 1 million years, a lot of things change. Because of that, and as pointed out in earlier studies, there may not be enough evidence or is that for? I think it was supposed to be for us, to detect past ancient alien civilizations or visitations. It is also entirely possible that aliens have passed by Earth numerous times but decided not to visit. Huh?
While locking their doors.
Yeah. Come on, kids, roll up your windows. There's Earth. To not visit us, this possibility is referred to in the recent paper as the Aurora Effect, explains Business Insider. Why is Business Insider coming up on this?
Because they're like, the definitive, reporter of space news.
Yeah, I guess so. There's new business.
And they make it their business.
Right, I guess they do. Yeah, it's none your business.
None your.
There's also the possibility that extraterrestrials may not want to visit a planet with already developed life. Whatever the case is, astronomers concluded that by considering all the above factors, it is very likely that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations settled only a fraction of the habitable worlds that they may have encountered across the galaxy. If there are truly enough habitable worlds out there, numerous alien civilizations could have spread across the galaxy by now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they do anyway. Of course, what scientists in this study failed to consider is that alien life could be very different from what we assume. Totally different from life on Earth. There could be alien organisms out there that need a toxic environment to thrive. For all we know, there could be aliens that have scorching temperatures and are blasted by extreme amounts of radiation from their stars and still have life on their surface. Maybe there is alien life out there that thrives under these extreme conditions. Of course, aliens could also be robots. Beep, pop. For all we know, alien life could develop on planets that have no atmosphere whatsoever. Cosmic bodies like our moon could be inhabited by strange alien organisms that are unlike anything we've ever encountered. Sure. I mean, so basically, they don't know. We don't know. It's possible.
Right.
The end. Could have been one sentence, Don.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could have been. But interesting article all the same. I think it's great to, I really had never considered that with the rotation of the universe, that there are times when certain stars are really close and then, 320 million years to come back around again. So,
right. Well, what if it wasn't Earth that was the stopping point or the layover, shall we say, but Mars? Mm-hmm. Because we talk about Mars possibly being the seed for the Earth, because it's still within that Goldilocks zone. It just has no atmosphere.
Yeah,
so what if they blew themselves up and the last ones out ended up on Earth?
Yep.
Yeah.
Last one out, turn out the lights.
Daleks. Yeah, exactly. We didn't mean the planet. We just meant the lights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oops. I didn't know. I thought we were on the same page.
Don't push the red button.
What do you say? Push the button?
No, don't push the button.
It's like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Explaining to Groot which button to push. Don't ever push this button. Rachel says, Paranormal Portal, very long-lived aliens by their timeline might be sitting back and choosing to wait until we're entering interstellar space. They might even be taking bets on the ways of our success. Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point. I mean, who knows? It's so hard to say what they could be thinking, and maybe they're just waiting for us to get out of our toddler phase and start walking.
Can't wait until these guys grow up. Gosh,
yeah, I know.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing is that we seem to be in this one toxic loop that just repeats and repeats because there's always things happening that pulls everyone back down.
Yep.
So that's too bad. But at any rate, it's interesting.
That's because history repeats itself.
It does. Here's an interesting one. How long is this one? 3-minute read. This one's shorter than the last one. Okay. So this is from Curiosmos again, and this is an interesting one. And this is where we're talking about ancient pasts. And this is, let's see, let's put it up on the screen so you guys can see it. But let's see. It was artifacts buried for 10,000 years belonging to mystery people emerged from melting glaciers.
Wow.
And this is by Vladislav Chekharov.
Okay.
Posted October 21st, 2020. 3-minute read. Climate changes and melting glaciers have paved the way for a new branch of glacier archaeology, revealing significant ancient artifacts. Climate changes are a major threat to humanity, but as it seems, there is one science that truly benefits from the terrible changes: archaeology. When it comes to melting ice, or more specifically melting glaciers around the world, it has created an incredible opportunity for archaeologists and scientists to dig out old and even ancient artifacts. Recent discoveries in melting Alpine glaciers. For years, archaeologists had theories that ancient hunters and gatherers collected rocks and crystals needed for tools from the mountains more than 9,500 years ago in the Mesolithic era. The continuous environmental changes in the melting glaciers in the Alps revealed another valuable archaeological site that confirmed these scientific suggestions, that what they found was a crystal vein filled with rocks identical to those used millennia ago for ancient tools. Although these climate changes are undoubtedly not in favor of Earth and our future, they laid the foundations of a brand new archaeology branch, Glacier Archaeology. This recent excavation mission was conducted at an impressive altitude of 2,800 meters in eastern Switzerland. To be exact, any ancient artifact or archaeological discovery is significant since it puts another piece to the historical puzzle of our kind. When it comes to glacier archaeology and the discoveries from the past 20 or so years, they totally changed our prehistoric people's perception. For example, it was once believed that the prehistoric communities stayed away from the mountains since they were challenging to maneuver and gave few opportunities for settling down. Opportunities for discoveries like those from the melting glacier ice changed this perception and showed that prehistoric individuals did climb the intimidating mountains in various instances. Moreover, excavations from the recent decades unraveled evidence that the mountains were bustling with human activities from the earliest periods of human history. The earliest discovery from melting glacier ice in the Alps occurred in 1991 when a fully preserved body of a 5,300-year-old warrior emerged from the melting ice. And the photographs are a tide intimidating?
A tad.
Oh, it should have said a tad. Okay. And they're intimidating. Thus, I will not include them in the article, but you can see pictures of the ancient man by searching Oetzi online. I think he had some wounds, like his skull was cleaved or something.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But in 2003, a 3,000-year-old birch bark quiver was found at an altitude of 2,756 meters. A few years later, excavations revealed leather clothes and shoes at an archaeological site dated to 4,500 BC. In a normal scenario, these artifacts would have been discovered by erosion and time, but they were perfectly preserved in the glacier ice, as can be seen in the photograph. I guess that's it. Is that the quiver, I guess? Oh, these are lace shoes dating back to at least 2,800 BC. Oh, wow. Found in the melting glaciers of the Alps. Wow. That's nice. Really cool. Where was I? Oh, okay, here we are. Unfortunately, it is estimated that more than 90% of all glaciers in the Alps could melt before the end of the current century. While this is an absolute climate disaster, it also creates an archaeological emergency since nobody knows how many important artifacts it could reveal and how many will be lost forever. In other words, as I mentioned above, ice will preserve certain objects, but once it is gone, these objects will either be taken by normal people or be destroyed by erosion. Archaeologists have already spoken about the issue that countless ancient artifacts could be laying in people's homes after being found in the mountains. Archaeologists do not have the funding or the capabilities to maintain consistent excavations on all melting glacier sites, which means that countless artifacts could be lost if we do not act quickly. All they have is a short window to extract all the useful historical data until it disappears forever. True. They also mentioned that people in the Alpine regions need to be well informed on the possibility of finding an important item or artifact, and most importantly, then give it to the authorities instead of keeping it as a trophy on the wall.
That's kind of a shaky idea.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like, hey, they can come look at my stuff, but it's my stuff. I'm just saying, if you find something like that,
how do you... on my door, Johnny Law, and you're going to see my stuff.
Law don't go around here, savvy? I heard you the first time, Ike. All right, see, but I like this picture at the top here because it shows, of course, the glacial flow.
Right.
And then the updated version here after a lot of the glaciers melted away.
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of stuff is being uncovered. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty darn cool stuff, folks. But that's what we cover here on the portal. This, I should have just named the show The Cool Stuff. Right?
Sure. I thought that was us.
I thought it was too.
Yeah, everybody is saying the Otzi man is also known as Iceman, the Iceman. And
sure.
Yes, he had several
wounds,
arrow wounds. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd been through hell. There's no question.
They said his last meal was dried ibex meat and fat, red deer, acorn wheat, and traces of toxic ferns.
Oh. Really? Traces of toxic ferns?
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
On purpose?
Maybe that's why he's dead.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder if you can eat these.
Yeah, exactly. How did we ever figure out we could eat tomatoes?
Yeah, this is how, folks.
Right? So there you go.
This is how. You just get one guy. Every village had one guy.
Sticks out one guy.
Yep.
He's called was the king's official food taster.
Yeah, well, that's in the king's areas in the castles, but everybody had an Ivan. See if Ivan will eat it. Let's watch him.
Hey, Mikey, come on over here.
Yeah, you'll eat the cereal. Sure, why not? I think. Let's see what the time is here first. 8:22. Yeah, let's see. This is 8 minutes. Read. That might be generous. It takes me longer than whatever minutes they're saying. I mean, if I'm reading it in my head, sure. I think I'll read this one. This one's supposed to be a 3-minute read, and then we'll get to the Germer files, folks.
Germer.
All right, this one is also from curiosmos.com. It's a cool site, as you can tell, folks, so definitely visit curiosmos.com and check out some of the articles over there. But this is declassified CIA documents reveal recovery of crashed UFO fragments in 1966. Ooh. And this is written by Vladislav Chikharov, posted on February 22nd, 2021, so this year. Let's see what it says. The origin of the object remains unknown. The Black Vault has filed thousands of FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests in recent decades. This has resulted in the declassification of more than 2 million CIA documents available on their official platform. In a recent article by the founder John Greenwald, he addressed a single declassified document referring to the recovery and exploitation of a metallic fragment from a UFO from the 1960s. The document in question has been available for decades, which means that it is nothing new, but with more than 2 million pages on the platform, it is understandable how a certain piece could be forgotten for years. Unfortunately, the declassified document is in terrible condition, and much of the printed text and images are hard to read.
It's called ancient redacting.
Yeah, exactly. According to the CIA, this is the only version of the document they have. Mm-hmm. which sounds unlikely. It's written in parentheses. I would agree with you. That's the only one they want you to see, which has been clearly indicated by a stamp saying poor original. Nevertheless, with some effort, it is possible to read it for the most part. The entire PDF with the document is still available here. I don't know if anybody's interested in that, but I'll grab that URL and put it. It's on the screen now, I guess, but I'll put it in the. That's not really showing much, is it? The Black Vault. Well, the text is readable, I guess. Might take a little ciphering, but here's the link to any of you UFO sleuths out there that would like to check it out. That's the PDF that's in question here. Let's see. Oh, it says on file in the CIA library is an exploitation report on a metallic fragment approximately 2 inches by 2 inches by 1 inch recovered near Karakine, Republic of the Congo. The fragment was recovered by a ground search after a UFO fell to Earth in the I don't know what this word is. The report area. Okay. The report concludes that the fragment was originally part of an electrical component that was constructed of 0.010 inch thick silicon steel laminate. Wow. It says the declassified CIA report discusses the retrieval of a UFO fragment from the Republic of Congo, and this event took place on May 4th, 1966, and the document clearly states that the origin of the debris is unknown. The CIA did not mention aliens, but instead, what's written on the document states country unidentified. What this means is that the CIA believes the UFO fragment was artificial and came from Earth. What they found out was that the metallic fragment must have been part of an electrical component of some sort. Of course, the simple fact that the CIA could not identify it with anything known suggests that it could potentially be something more significant. What are the chances that no expert has seen a similar component on Earth? On the other hand, when experts studied the UFO fragment, they deduced that it must have been exposed to extreme temperatures. Since the document is tough to read, it's almost impossible to understand the numbers written on the page. According to John Greenewald, it states 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. This is another part of the document that is open for interpretation. Maybe you can see different numbers. Nope, I can't. Furthermore, the CIA was good enough to provide us with the chemical composition of the UFO fragments, although the condition of the document prevents us from actually seeing figures. Although the origin remained a mystery, they were able to analyze and show that it was what it was made of. The list of elements is as long as you can see, but some of the most notable ones include carbon, silicon, manganese, etc. The declassified document also includes several pages of photographs of the UFO fragment, which unfortunately are absolutely invisible to us. The quality of the print is so terrible that it's impossible to get a good idea of the actual object. Nevertheless, we see that it was incredibly small based on the addition of a ruler to the images. Judging by what is partially visible, the UFO fragment was not bigger than 2 centimeters, and to me personally, it seems that it has a round shape.
Okay. Wow.
I guess this is it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is the piece, whatever that is. Yeah, you can't make much out of that.
2 by 2 by 1.
Yeah. This declassified document clearly states that the CIA possesses at least one such object from a UFO, but all we know is that there are certainly many more, likely thousands. In a recent video on the topic, the founder and owner of the Black Vault stated that he will soon be addressing other similar cases. We should appreciate the tireless effort and countless FOIA requests being made in order for us to learn such long-kept secrets. If such cases are your interest, visit the official website of the Black Vault, and you are guaranteed to spend hours looking at incredible declassified files addressing things you wouldn't else believe.
All written by the TTBSA.
Well, is the Black Vault them?
No.
Oh,
but
okay.
The thing is, though, is like there was something that was said in there real quick near the end that reminded me of the TTBSA.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what it was, but
okay.
It's worth a mention.
Well, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, it's all out there, folks.
That's what it is.
What?
it was talking about this declassified document clearly states the CIA possesses at least one such object from a UFO. But all we know is there are certainly many more, likely thousands.
Oh, sure.
Like the ones that were in the hands of the TTBSA. There you go. That's what brought it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, in their wisdom to partner with the military.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, folks. I don't know who did the decision making over there in the To the Stars Academy, but geez. Ugh. Anyway, that's the article. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's interesting. It's just they did a Freedom of Information Act, and do you remember in elementary school, Don, when they would give you those they were like copies, but they were in like blue ink instead.
Yeah, like the mimeographs.
Mimeographs, yeah, and they smelled really weird, like kind of cool.
Yep.
But they were the worst quality.
Yep.
They were terrible. And this is like times 10 worse than that. It's just absolutely...
Well, it's from the CIA.
I know, but they're obviously going out of their way not to provide information, but provide information. So they provide a piece of paper and say, poor original. Well, no kidding. I almost cussed. Sorry. But obviously it's a poor original. It's a poor attempt, too. But anyway, let's see where we at here for time.
10th generation mimeograph.
Yeah, exactly.
Always use the original, dang it.
Yes, exactly.
Never copy
Always.
the copy.
Never copy a copy, because a
Germer
copy of a
files?
copy. I'm thinking we're going to move to the Germer files. What do you think?
I think Germer files are a great idea.
Okay, folks. Well, now in a special treat, and many thanks to our good friend, Mr. Wes Germer of Sasquatch Chronicles, we are going to showcase one of his latest projects, which is pretty exceptional. He did a really nice job on it, and I hope you will enjoy this. Well, let's check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Germer Files, where we're going to showcase, as I said, a recent project done by our good friend, Mr. Wes Germer. And in that, he's been working on some really cool video projects as a new phase of Sasquatch Chronicles in his new upcoming show, which is Chronicles After Dark. So this, I thought, would be a fun one to talk about because we love stories about the Dogman. And Wes just had done this interview with a wildlife biologist who claims to have shot a Dogman. So I hope you're ready. Here we go. Let's check it out.
What the hell is that?
Watch.
Oh no, that's awesome.
Isn't that great?
Is there no sound effect to that?
Not to that part.
Oh.
No, there's no sound to that.
Yeah, so I'm currently a wildlife biologist stationed up in the Upper Peninsula, working with the Department of Natural Resources, the DNR, as it's commonly referred to in Michigan. My primary role with them right now is tracking, tagging, and monitoring the larger predator population in the UP. So primarily wolves, bears, and cougars. So I spend the majority of my time either in the woods actually tracking, tranking, and then collaring or tagging these animals. And then I send all of my data back to one of our field offices in the UP, and they do what they need to do with that data, and I move on. So that's my primary role currently right now. So I don't have a desk or an office. My office is the woods. So I currently own 380 acres in the heart of the Hiawatha National Forest in the UP. That land was given to me by my grandfather when he passed away. He inherited that land from his dad. It's been in their family for generations. He's been taking me up there since I was like 6 years old. So I'm extremely familiar with this property. When I'm working in the UP, that's where I stay. I'm up there about 9 months out of the year. So I know this property, like the back of my hand. Like I said, I've been going up there since I was about 6 years old, and I've made it my primary residence currently. I do have a residence down in the Lower Peninsula as well, but moved everything up there when I took the position in the UP. This incident occurred back opening day of bow season in 2019. As I like to get out in the woods, and I have 3 or 4 spots that I have set up where I'm always successful. I always take game, always take deer. This particular day, I got up. It's opening day. Wasn't expecting to take one. I typically don't opening day. I'll let a few pass just because it's opening day, and I don't want to, fill my tag that quick. So I get out there about 5 a.m. and I like getting out there when it's dark, putting on my headlamp, walking in, and then watching kind of the woods wake up. Birds coming out, squirrels, rabbits. I really enjoy that. That's just kind of my happy place. And Wes, you said you were a hunter, and so I think you can kind of picture this, and to any of the other hunters out there, there's about a 30 to 40 minute window right before the sun comes up where everything is just kind of gray. Everything is muted. You see a tree, but you don't necessarily see that it's green. And it's fall, so everything is already kind of dead and dying anyways. And so the light hasn't hit it yet, and it's kind of gray. So I'm positioned about 35 yards back from a ridge line. And off to my left, a game trail runs up the ridge, and then about 25 yards in front of me, it crosses right where I'm set up. I'm watching this ridge line. It's kind of gray. The sun hasn't quite peaked yet. It's not legal shooting hours. And off to my left, I noticed this kind of a black mass just kind of peeking over the ridge line. And my initial thought was, holy cow, that is a huge bobcat. We have bobcats in Michigan. They're all over the place. But this one was 35 yards back. And the most distinguishing feature that I could see were the ears. Anybody seen a bobcat before? They have very pointed ears, kind of smaller, but very pointed ears. Wolves don't have that. Bears don't have that. Cougars don't have that. These were characteristically bobcat ears. So I'm 35, 40 yards back. And the fact that I can pick out these ears, to me, that's a big bobcat. I'm kind of watching it, and it kind of disappears, in some pine trees, and it just kind of the underbrush. And I kind of thought to myself, geez, I hope that comes a little closer so I can get a good look at this bobcat. Figured it was gone. So about 10 minutes later, again, I saw it kind of just very slowly move into my field of view. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, that's not a bobcat. That's too big to be a bobcat, but those are not the ears of a wolf. Those are not the ears of a cougar, and it's too low to the ground to be a bear, and those aren't bear's ears anyways. And again, as I'm looking at it, it's just kind of a shape. I'm looking at it through some, underbrush and foliage, and I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, first of all, that's black. Whatever this is, it is jet black. And those ears are what kept bugging me. So again, it disappeared into a little, I don't want to say pine grove, but there's like 3 or 4 little like pine tree saplings that I kind of lost it in. And about 5 minutes later, it kind of, I don't want to say like emerged, but I caught sight of it again directly in front of me. And this time it had crossed the game trail that was 25 yards out from me. And it was probably 25 to 30 feet in front of me. So at this point, it hits me like, that's a wolf. There are black wolves around. Michigan primarily has gray wolves. There have been some black wolves seen in Michigan. Black wolves tend to be larger, and they hunt alone. They typically don't run with a pack. They're solo hunters. So my first impression was I could see the shoulders and I could see the face, but it was a wolf. And its muzzle looked a little longer, and the ears again. Wes, I'm going to keep coming back to the ears because the ears were driving me nuts this whole time. I wasn't thinking cryptid, wasn't thinking werewolf, wasn't thinking any of that. I've spent years in the woods, and I have never come across anything that would lead me to believe there was something in northern Michigan. Now, not saying I don't believe everybody who's seen it, because there are too many reports for me to just shrug it off. Personally, I just had never seen, heard, felt anything that would even lead me to think, oh, that was a cryptid, or that was a Sasquatch, or whatever. So I'm looking at this thing, and I realized this is displaying every characteristic of a stalk. This thing knows I'm here. It's staying out of sight. I haven't heard a thing, not a twig, not a rustle of a leaf, like nothing. That it has been dead silent. And when I say dead silent, like that, there's birds chirping overhead. Like, it's not like that eerie, like everything leaves the forest. Like, that's again why I wasn't thinking cryptid. I always thought if I have a cryptid experience, the sun's going to go like, I thought it was going to be a big spectacle. This to me was, I'm getting stalked by a wolf. Yeah. This thing's creeping up on me. So again, it's 25, maybe 30 feet away, about 2 feet off the ground, hunched real low. So at that point, So I drew my pistol. I carry a 45. In Michigan, you don't really need anything bigger than that. I'm not going to carry a hand cannon or, a 44 or a 500 mag. If I'm going to shoot something, I want something that I can shoot. And if I need follow-up shots, I can accurately take follow-up shots. So I simply unholstered it and kind of put it in my lap. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. I'm getting up close. I'm seeing, stuff that I haven't seen since college. As long as this thing just kind of backs away and keeps its distance, we're fine. And you know what? I can leave the woods and tell my supervisors about it back at the office. So at this point, it starts like getting a little lower and still creeping forward. Now, I still I couldn't make out arms or legs or shoulders, but I could see the head, and I guess I could see the shoulders. But I still couldn't make out exactly what this was. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't like this. This doesn't seem to be backing down. That's when I kind of got this weird feeling in my gut. Like, I'm up here in the middle of nowhere. Nobody really knows where I'm hunting. My nearest neighbor is probably 30 miles away. Work knows I'm hunting, but I'm off for 3 weeks to hunt because that's what I do every year. If something happens, I'm going to be out here for forever, and no one's going to find me. My parents won't know what's going on, my siblings. So at that point, I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this thing down. I'm going to drag it out of here. I'm going to call up my local conservation officer, call up somebody, hey, this is what happened. This is where it happened. If it's my life or his life, I'm sorry, but it's going to be their life every single time.
Yeah.
So bring the gun up, get it in my sights, squeeze off a round. When I squeezed off the round, I hit it because it jerked its head to the left, gave its head a little shake, and then slowly looked right back up, like right in my direction. So if you've ever seen a dog run into a sliding glass door, just kind of steps back a little dazed and shakes his head and just kind of walks off. That's what this reminded me of. That phased it, but didn't do anything to stop it from coming. And at that point, I winged it. Did I miss it? There's no way I just hit something in the head with a 45 and it just shrugged it off. At that point, I decided to try what is typically referred to as a intimidation display. So wolves do it, bears do it when they stand up on their hind legs and growl. Wolves will get real low and show their teeth. Those are intimidation displays. They're not necessarily, they're aggressive, but that doesn't mean the animal is about to charge you. All that really shows is keep coming forward and things are going to get ugly. Most of the time, if you start backing away, they're going to back away and they're going to leave. So I was like, okay, well, this is clearly a predator. It's an apex predator. it's probably never had anything stand up to it and be aggressive towards it. Usually they turn and run. So at that point, I jumped up off of my seat and just like yelled at it, never taking it out of the sight of my pistol. I've got this thing dialed in, and I just jumped up and just kind of yelled, screamed. The second I got done yelling, it stood up. And it didn't stand up in like the traditional sense of the word. Like it didn't push off the ground with its front legs and kind of, lift itself up. It was like that classic scene in the movie Nosferatu where all of a sudden the vampire just kind of like stands up out of the coffin. Like this thing was just all of a sudden just like up. And I only looked at it for about 10 seconds before I shot again. But in those 10 seconds, I noticed it had an extremely broad shoulders, a really broad chest, and its arms were really skinny. They looked really weak, and they were really long. Like they hung down almost to like his knees. And I say a he, it could have been a female. I didn't see genitalia. Typically you won't on these type of canids. But it stood up. And I kind of, this isn't happening. Okay, like, we're done. Squeezed off 2 more. Hit it in its chest. And I know I hit it in its chest because you could see where the rounds hit, and it kind of like ruffled the fur. And it like took a small step back to kind of brace itself. So at that point, it looked back up at me and slowly sank back down to the ground, back to all fours, and just slowly backed away into the brush, and that was it. It was not like your typical. I've heard plenty of your Dogman stories, and a lot of people compare them to Anubis. This was not anything like that. The only thing about this that had like a human characteristic was that it had broad shoulders, a broad chest, and then it like tapered down to his waist. Like you see on like really fit, not necessarily like bodybuilders, but guys who are in really good shape, broad shoulders, broad chest, tapers a bit to the waist. That was the only thing about this that I could say looked even remotely human. Everything else was completely, I mean, if I tell you close your eyes, picture a werewolf, I mean, and it sounds dumb to say, but Wes, that's what it was. That's what I saw. That's what I shot.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by your encounter, Matt. And, being a wildlife biologist, I mean, you're out there all the time. You know the predators, you know the non-predators, and then you run into this thing. I mean, you're an educated, this is what you went to school for, and now you're running into this thing you've never seen before. I want to ask you, I mean, what did you think it was? A 45 bullet going down range, that's 230 grain. That's a lot of lead going down range. You'd think you'd put it down, hitting it, but what was kind of going through your mind at that moment?
Honestly, Wes, I don't know. Again, the first shot, I might have missed it. I might have, winged it. I might have, maybe it was an underpowered round. And I mean, you take a 45 ACP, go out to Africa and shoot a water buffalo with it, it's going to laugh at you. A 45 is a big projectile, but in terms of velocity, it's moving very slow compared to other rounds.
Yeah, but I'm sure if one hit my head, it would blow out the side of my head.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the big things that, like, when I did eventually leave the woods, what was that? Like, I kind of didn't believe myself for like a day and a half. You fell asleep. You were lucid dreaming. As hunters, I think we can all say, hey, we've all fallen asleep in the stand or in the blind or on the ground. But No, I had 3 rounds missing from my magazine when I got back. I can't explain that away. I don't have an explanation for it. There's nothing that I can say that would even remotely come close to explaining how something, I'm not going to say small, because it probably stood about 7.5 feet. Like, it was big, but you shoot a deer with a 45 ACP, it's going to go down. You shoot a bear in the head, probably going to go down. Those are decently big animals. So that explanation, I don't know.
Well, there you have it, folks. The Germer files. Hope you enjoyed that. And just to show you, we're going to do the close. Special thanks, of course, goes to Wes Germer and Sasquatch Chronicles for letting us showcase that tonight. That was really awesome.
That was awesome, but when he described the arms as like skinny and weak, I just kind of have like, I can't imagine a Dogman being skinny and weak of anything. So
yeah, right after the description of having this massive chest and shoulders.
Yeah, these little tiny skinny arms.
And maybe it was maybe it was just having to do with the angle he was seeing at.
Yeah, maybe it was just that the chest was so massive he didn't really pay attention to or was cognizant of the actual size of the arms.
Right.
Comparatively, it wasn't that memorable, but I didn't see it, so
Thank God, though. I don't. I got to tell you, of all of the cryptids out there, I think that's definitely right at the top of the ones that I don't want to encounter.
Don't want to meet them.
No, I'm good with just hearing people's experiences. I don't have a desire,
right?
Even though with all of the sightings and all the face-to-face encounters that are out there, and it appears that they really exercise a hell of a lot of restraint and control. Like they would have no problem dispatching a human being, but they choose not to. So that to me denotes intelligence.
Yeah, and that's another thing is Linda Godfrey has talked about it. What's that other guy's name? Vic. Vic talks about it.
What's that other guy? What's his name? What's his name?
That guy. Who we have to get back on the show.
Yes, we do.
He talks about how they both talk about how they just seem to intimidate. To count coup, if you will, but not actually, devour someone or savage someone, shall we say? So,
Halfkey brought up a good point, though. He said could have been an old one. Yeah. We all get thin when we get old, and that's an interesting point because, this biologist identified the behavior. Identified the behavior of the creature he was seeing as stalking.
Right.
Now, it stands to reason to me that maybe the older populations of these beings, and not just Dogman, maybe it's true for others as well that may be out there, that as they become older, it's harder for them to possibly take down the prey that they normally would have, which would have been fast-moving deer and other things. So you go to the low-hanging fruit. And people are sincerely low-hanging fruit as far as prey is considered, although this guy did see it, did see it coming and was able to observe the behaviors and stuff. So I think that it's possible that as they age, and as Halfkey pointed out, maybe that's why it looks so frail in the arms, is because it really was a much older one and was really hungry and had to make that call.
That's hungry. I wonder how long the lifespan of a Dogman would be.
I don't know. I mean, it's anybody's guess, of course, but Scowling Wolf, why do you Yanks have to shoot everything?
Well, because we got to eat.
Well, that's
got to eat.
We got to know what they taste like. That might just be food.
Refer back to the woolly mammoth story.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't know. I don't know that that's the case. There's certainly. I don't think it's necessarily conducive only to America. I think that there's many cultures where I don't know what it is, I'm going to shoot it. I think
it's just a fear response.
It is. I think it's just a fear response. Yeah. And of course, there's the population in America that hunts and is outdoorsmen is really, really high. And of course, if you're confronted with something that you can't wrap your head around, it's just you're seeing something right out of your nightmares. Right. You're feeling vulnerable. You're feeling scared. You're feeling like whatever this is wants to kill me. Then, I guess everybody would have to make that judgment call. And as much as I love and cherish life, and I try to value it in all ways, if I was being stalked by a dog,
my life.
Yeah, that includes mine. Yeah, exactly. But if I was being stalked by some creature,
right,
I really never want to do harm to anything. But if something I perceive is going to harm me or the people I love, then it's a no-brainer. I mean, there just is. That's the fight or flight.
Right.
If. And I'm pretty sure I couldn't outrun a Dogman or any other aggressive. I'm not even sure I could outrun a
possum.
Yeah,
the one that's laying dead on the
tree
side
sloth.
of the road. How you doing, buddy?
The tree sloth. Yeah. I think that's when you're in a situation like that, you don't know what you're confronting.
Right.
You have no idea what you're looking at. And while it's easy for us to sit in our chairs, and I'm the same way. I've made that same call many times. It's like, why shoot? You don't understand what it is. Why shoot?
Right.
But
you're not in this situation.
Right. You're out there and you're vulnerable. And so I can understand why shooting. I don't condone it. I don't think that that's the best response. And it wouldn't be the best response for me either. But I have to admit that if I was in that situation and I had the means to do it or to watch something come in and start chewing on me, I'm going to be putting things down range quick. I mean, really, I'm going to. And it's not because I want to or feel this bloodlust or want to do harm to anything. But I just don't want something. I don't want that to be the way I leave this world.
Yeah, Revenant style,
Yeah. And I never saw that movie, but I totally understand the story behind it. And yeah, absolutely. I think that, but it's hard not being in the situation, trying to make a judgment call on it. Yeah. In a perfect world, I would show plenty of restraint and try to find an intelligence or something to make it an experience. But, in the real world, if I was out in the dark woods and something was moving up on me and it was 7.5 feet tall with claws and didn't look anything like what I'm expecting to see out there. Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's a human response. It's a fear response, as you said, Don.
Yeah.
And an understandable one, I got to admit. So, I don't know. I think this has been a show, Don.
Yeah, I think that's what we call it.
All right, folks. Well, this is going to conclude the Paranormal Portal for this fine Wednesday evening. I hope you guys have enjoyed the ride. Thank you all to all of you who've come out and be a part of it. We, of course, love when more people show up and you guys spread the word and let more people know about the shows. Yep. But continue to spread the word. Please feel free to post these on your social media. If you know people in the paranormal communities that might enjoy the show, let them know about the portal. That would be a great help to us. There's lots of ways to support the show. And that is a huge one. We're nearing the 9,000 sub mark, which means we're nearing 10,000 subs. And Don and I are planning a 10,000 subscriber extravaganza.
It may take another 6 months.
it might
we like your help, though. That's what he's saying.
What I'm saying is I'm hoping you guys can help us move to that 10,000 subscriber mark, and we can have that fun and have a great show. We've got some really cool ideas for what to do for it. So. But please help us get there. We're getting closer all the time. We're almost at 9,000 subs now. So it's coming, but we definitely continue to need and plead for your help to get us there. So thank you to all of you who have done that, and thank you to all of you who will do that and help spread the word. But Don, anything in closing?
Nope, not necessarily, other than have a good night. Thank you for being here. And, well, there you have it. My toast.
I love your Donisms.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. I do want to take a moment and point this out because we haven't done this for a while on the show, and I think we should because I know more and more of you are coming into the shows, and maybe somebody out there would like to have some Paranormal Portal gear of your very own, and if you want that, in the description of this show on YouTube, there's a link to Teespring. And teespring.com is where we have our portal gear. So if you're out there and thinking, man, I could sure use a Paranormal Portal shirt, hoodie, coffee mug, sticker, or some other paraphernalia of the show.
Paraphernalia.
This is where you get it. teespring.com/paranormal portal or teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal, or you can go to paranormal-portal. I don't know. There's other. Anyway, the link is in the show description right here on YouTube. So check it out if you're in the mood. It certainly goes a long way to help us and to help support the show.
It certainly does.
So please, by all means, there's lots of things to choose from. And we got to get some new designs up there too, Don.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So anyway, that would be a great way to help as well. But the biggest way is to just keep spreading the word. Let people know. That means the most to us. And when we get to that 10,000th show, then we're going to do some giveaways right from this page, as a matter of fact. So we'll talk more about that when we get there. But anyway, that's all I got, Don. Anything else from you?
Nope, that's it.
That's all Don's got. So
Good night.
that means, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for being here. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back tomorrow night with the Night Terrors. So
There you go.
hope you'll join me then. Good night, everybody.
Good night.